Okay, DGP 105, coming to you live on Independence Day from the nation's capital.
Howdy, KP. Good morning. It is a Friday here, national holiday, so we got the day off. How about that? Early Friday morning. But before we get started, we had some sad news in the footballing world yesterday. Diogo Jota passed away in a car accident. You hate to see it. That's just not fun for anybody. It's sad news. So we just want to start off by saying, rest in peace, big man Jota.
Yeah, dude, I was really sad to wake up to Thursday morning, and I mean, really great baller. I thought he had the body feint, dude. He just had the body feint, and he was so calm in front of goals. How many seasons have you watched and thought, oh, I wish we had that coming off our bench, right? And kind of shows it's not all about having a 9. You don't need 20, 30 goals, just a guy to get you 10. But rest in peace, Jota, man. It came out of nowhere. Life happens really fast like that, dude.
Life happens really fast. I've been involved in an accident where a tire blew as well. Big time stuff, rollover, right? Happens fast. It's just like that. Click.
Yeah, dude, I've lost a teammate before, and it is really hard. It comes out of nowhere, and this was like maybe 10 years ago, and just a shock that it leaves everyone really close to them, and I can't even imagine what his family and everything is going through. Wishing them all the best, right? Keeping them in mind, praying for everyone. And then, dude, I gotta be honest with you. I woke up this morning, Friday morning, to even more sad news. I saw that Tomiyasu's contract has been terminated by Arsenal. Mutual agreement, which I think just means the club said you're fired. Makes me even more sad, dude. 48 hours of sadness over here.
Man, life happens fast. Takahiro Tomiyasu. If you're a listener of the show, you know that's one of my favorites. I'm a big Tomiyasu guy. I'm always on the standpoint of when he's on the field, we're a better team. He's a lockdown defender. It just seemed like he always brought the good energy. But where has he been? Where has he been? It's actually kind of sad. I don't really remember the last game he played in. I can't remember that moment. It'd probably be, I guess, not the 24-25 season, but it'd have been the 23-24 season. I think he was there at the end of that run. That's when the last time he had a good run of games for us. Big Tomiyasu fan. I hope he's okay. I hope he signs somewhere and gets back to full health, able to get a string of games together. Good player. It's just kind of a sad thing to see his career go down like that at Arsenal. Really started on a high note and just never seemed to reach the level again.
Difficult, dude. So difficult. You know the love for him on this pod. One to watch a couple of years ago and really delivered. But at the same time, dude, I can't really put blame on the club. I think you have to put the club first. And it got to be one of those situations where it's once you have multiple surgeries on both knees, like I just feel like at this point they've decided he'll never reach that top level of himself again. And you don't need AI to like tell you that. You just kind of watch it know.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think we're not in a position to nurse a player like that back right now. I don't think Arsenal's in a position to do that. A couple of years ago, yeah, we absolutely were. We're no longer in a position to, hey, come back, get a run of games, get your fitness level. We need to hit the ground running. I'm sure he understands that as well. Hopefully he can go somewhere that, obviously the situation's different. I kind of don't want him to be in the Premier League because he's that good. I think he's that good. I don't want to be playing against him. Especially, I think a Saka-Tomiyasu matchup would be crazy to watch. Twice a season. That would be a hell of a matchup. Yeah, hopefully, maybe Serie A. He goes back to Serie A. Happy beginnings for him.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. I mean, I think I can see him kind of ending back up in Japan somewhere because, like, to be honest with you, I think I read that he isn't even fully back to fitness for another 6 months. So that was also part of the decision, I imagine. And it did make me think, like, who else has had a similar career to Tomiyasu. I think to your point of the club kind of cutting ties at this point, not being in a position that we've been in the past to nurse players, we've also been burnt by doing that, right? We've seen players, we really spent 2-3 years helping them get back to their top level, and then they just left for not even that much.
Yeah. I want to say this is probably a new stance. Someone that just left this beginning of the summer. Kieran Tierney is like an example. I would say we probably held on a little too long, right? He should have gone to greener pastures, held on to him. That's the most recent example. You could have players like, even like I guess Saint Cazorla, we did let him go, but just players that had some injury trouble in their career. But we are a different club now. We're definitely in a different place. So yeah, it's time to go. It's time to go. It's mutual. I think it's mutual.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think, Steven, I'm just wondering what this means for a player like Gabriel Jesus.
Same approach?
I don't know. What would be your perspective on it? I mean, he got hurt, what was it, like January, February, right? The knee injury. So he's not going to be back for, I imagine, another 3-4 months. And it seems like the club are looking to bolster the attack, not with just one attacking signing. So it's making me wonder, what does all this mean for Gabriel Jesus?
Yeah, I say he's obviously going to be with us this next year, but sliding down the depth chart, man. Just sliding down the depth chart. If there is an injury in that front line, maybe he can step up and play a role, but I would love to have like the information on how many years are left in his contract, to be honest. I don't see him being with us long term, with the status quo.
Yeah, I think today I would be on board with having the same policy approach to the situation. And I think overall June kind of went as we expected. We were obviously recording on July 4th, and sorry for not dropping a lot of episodes last month, but not a lot was happening, right? We did get sort of a few more concrete links, but kind of went as predicted, dude. 2 extensions, Big Gabby, Maslow Skelly, and then right at June, as it ended, here comes Kepa, officially announced by the club. The one you didn't want, like you said, gets served first.
Yeah, Kepa in, cool with it. Maslow Skelly extension, I think that's probably the big one. And then the Big Gabby. The Big Gabby extension's the biggest. Hopefully that creates that effect on everybody else to get signed, right? Saliba, Saka, all of your big names. He sets a precedent. That's what you're hoping for. And then Carlos Cuesta. Shout out to him. Got a managerial job somewhere else. Do you remember where it's at?
Oh, something with a P, wasn't it?
Was it in Serie A?
Yeah, it is in Syria.
Should we pull it up?
Let me see if I can fact check it.
The classic DGP fact check. So it's cool for him, young dude starting his managerial career. Like to see it. And then Gabriel Hines, obviously kind of an international legend. He's coming into the coaching staff. I think we got that news. Was that yesterday as well? A lot of news here at the beginning of July.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. It's keeping us on our toes. And I think a few more would have been coming out if it wasn't for some of the cloud that got into the environment. But Carlos Cuesta, it's confirmed he went to Parma in Serie A. And really exciting for him, 29 years old, kind of gets this job. We've talked about it during our season recap that, want to see some kind of change up in the staffing team. And Hines, I don't know too much about him, but it seems like he's 47 years old, so kind of a older head now enters, replacing this 29-year-old. So that's kind of exciting. Someone who's been around the block a few times, and it seems like he's also a little friendly with Mikel.
Gotcha. I want to say that's what we're looking for. I think we're on the record saying that we wanted somebody with a bigger voice in the coaching staff, someone that maybe can step up and meet Mikel eye to eye. Don't know anything about his coaching career, just know about him as a player. There's like those, he's an international legend type player. That's how I see him. So I want to say maybe they played together at PSG. I'll need
Yeah.
to fact check that, but I want to say that's probably where they met.
Yeah, that's what I read as well. So that's cool. July 3rd, we got that announcement. Not much else really, except for things to look ahead to, right? We're still waiting for Zubimendi. That's one day, right?
I actually saw there was an announcement this morning, man. I guess maybe it was last night. They have delayed the Zubimendi announcement because of Jota.
Oh,
Like he
okay.
was actually supposed to get announced, and this is from like Arsenal. They delayed the announcement due to the due to that accident with Jota. So I respect that. I think that's a good thing to do. There's
Totally.
bigger things than football. So obviously we'll get announced in due time. Just doesn't need to be this weekend. So proper decision.
Yeah. Some news actually breaking today, just before we got on. TP5 is one officially gone from the club, and two seems to be going into custody for some of those allegations that have been following him for a few years now. And we had the Arse Out chat on the last episode. We both felt like it was the right time to kind of cut ties, and here it is.
It's time to go. It was time to go. I want to say I'm on the record saying last summer I thought he should have gone. Like
I think so.
We never really talk about that noise, right? We're just talking about the club. We didn't get into any of that, but with that talk being there, we've talked about what the club represents, stuff like that. Our women's club being what it is and what that represents. It seemed like there was a conflict of interest, in my opinion. So I was always kind of on the side of, I'd rather just see him go. Let's have another. I think we had the bodies to replace him. But yeah, now the time, it is interesting. As soon as he gets released, no contract extension, almost within the week, this is announced, right? That these allegations, they're no longer allegations. There are charges. It is kind of interesting. From quickly what I've read, I mean, this came out right before we started recording, so I haven't seen a lot, but it almost seems like they're saying because he's still in the country, that's why they're dropping it now, so he can't flee.
Oh, wow.
Which is wild. Yeah, the timing of this seems pretty crazy.
Wow. Okay, well, more to unfold there, I'm sure. I think one of your biggest worries was that if he goes and Jorginho goes, you were doing the math of 2 outs, you need to bring 2 in. And with Zubimendi kind of being very close any day, we did hear some concrete links about Norgard as the second player to come in. Relatively small fee. I think they said around 10 or so is the chat with Brentford. A lot of stuff happening at Brentford. I think we need to talk about that for a bit. But I'd love to know what you think about this Norgard link.
I'll take it. It's not the exciting, sexy news that I want. There's been no sexy, exciting news yet. I guess you could say Zubimendi, but it seems like a smart move, man. I think it's in line with the Jorginho deal. Like, it's an older central midfield player that can hopefully add a ton of experience for us. I mean, it seems like from our text messages back and forth, you're excited about it.
I'm fully on board with it, dude. One, he's another club's captain. Like, that's cool. He was their captain for many years. Their manager just left. It seems like they're going to lose a couple of other players. And he fancies the move. I think it's great. And he's a player I can see play that role that we've talked about, that we need for that position to be, right? Every now and then come in. I won't be surprised if he starts to have that Rob Holding effect off the bench, right? Dude, next season, I want to see us scoring early. I want to see us bring that back. But also, I want to see us be in a position that 75th minute. Here comes Norgard, dude. Here comes the closer. He can be the closer.
He can be the closer. He's obviously big, can get his head on a lot of set pieces. What I will say about him, I haven't watched a ton of Brentford games, but like, the player, dickhead. Like, if I had to describe him in one word, it's dickhead. I am glad to have a dickhead in our squad. I like that.
You're excited about that?
Yeah, of course. I think that's something that's not typically in the Arsenal brand. I think that's why people really like Ben White. He's a dickhead type player. I think Norgard is a dickhead type player.
Yeah, that's exciting, dude. That's exciting. I think it does also mean a little bit that they fancy Declan Rice at that left 8, dude. They just do, man. They see goals in there.
They do. I think it's solidified. I don't hate it. I think he can do it. Do you have a strong feeling one way or the other?
What do you mean? Who can do what?
I think, no, I'm talking about, you're saying Declan Rice has now solidified he's going to be the left 8. There's obviously discussion that he was always going to eventually end up at the 6 once TP5 left. Well, he's leaving. We're buying another 6. It seems pretty solid that Rice is going to stay at the left 8. I think the first season was a little rough. Last season, I think he really did improve in it. So I think that it can only go up from here.
Yeah, I agree. If he can just get the heading down a little bit more, if he can improve his heading a little bit more, there's more goals there, dude. Easily. We know what he's capable of, and it's exciting. He really helps the press up high too at that left 8, much more than he can do at the 6.
And it's one of my favorite things to say on this pod. Shoot! Let the man shoot the ball. That's it. That's done deal.
He can shoot, dude. He can shoot. And with that in mind, let's start chatting about the winger. Let's start chatting about the striker. Let's talk about some shooters that are missing from this team, dude. We had the cliffhanger. I've got a nice little list built up these days, dude. Just had to cross one off of it, though, because today, again, this morning, Nico Williams, it became, I think, official that he has extended his contract at Athletic Bilbao. And, you know, another player that it seems like Arsenal were the honeypot for.
Huh. I did not see that. I thought he was heading to Barcelona, so he re-signed his contract, huh?
Yeah, it seems like he got a bump, and they also increased his release clause by 50%. Apparently, it has to do something with Barcelona not being able to register players. Apparently, Athletic legitimately just sent a note to the league saying, how are they doing this? This should not be allowed. So wow. I think that played a big role in it.
Okay. I know you're big on the Nico train. Seems like the Nico train has reached the station and is retiring. They're retiring that locomotive. So what is the new train, KP? What's the new train we're hopping on?
Well, there's three trains at 3 different stations right now, dude. And they're loading. They're saying, "Hey, tickets, please." One of them is a short ride in London. I think it's from just down the block from Chelsea to Arsenal, potentially Madueke. Some links have been floating around this week. Another one is a little bit more, I want to say maybe south. Maybe it's south. I don't know. Crystal Palace. Another train leaving from Crystal Palace with Eze on the front. So that seems to be picking up some steam. And then you've got the station that I'm at. I'm just waiting. I am at this station waiting, Steven. They haven't announced the gate that the train is going to leave from. This is like when you take the Acela from DC to New York. In New York, they don't announce the gate until 2 minutes until boarding. And that is the case coming out of Madrid. There's a kid named Rodrigo. You might have heard about him a couple of times on this pod throughout the years. And that's the train I want to get on.
That's it, huh? You're looking for the big splash, the biggest splash.
I really want it, Steven, because I just think, when is the last time you saw Gabriel Martinelli score a goal from outside the box? That's my question. There's been some chatter that, is Rodrigo really an upgrade on Martinelli? Go and look at the goal catalog. Entirely different.
Okay. I'm with you in saying Rodrigo is obviously the top player just based on based on his history, right? I mean, he's coming from Real Madrid. It's the biggest club in the world. He is a starter there. Plays on his lesser preferred side. He'd be moving to the left wing. Yada, yada. He'd probably excel in our squad. But on the flip, obviously that's the highest price tag this summer. Of any position we're looking at, that would be the highest price tag. I gotta say, KP, the news coming out of Crystal Palace, Eze really got me buzzing this week. That really got me buzzing. Can play left wing, and then he can also play in the center midfield. I think he could play that left 8 position. Having that duality would be great. Would bring something different off of the left wing compared to Martinelli, and that something different is something we could really use. And the kid's a shooter. We know that. The kid's a shooter. He can whip in a ball. He can hit free kicks. I'm sure he could come off the left and bang one in. That's probably my preference. I'm Madueke, whatever. I'm not in on that. Anthony Gordon gives me some excitement, but I understand. Rodrigo 1. I think my realistic number 1 would be Eze. That's who I would prefer.
Eze, I hear you. It would be exciting, but with Eze, I would still want another winger. I think the pace is... Eze would be a replacement for Trossard. That's how I kind of see it. Eze is a Trossard replacement. But where is the Martinelli replacement? Where is the fast winger?
That's a whole other... do we need a Martinelli replacement? I don't know if we need one.
Because, dude, Eze's 27, so he just reminds me a lot of when we signed Trossard at 28 from Brighton. That's the vibe I'm getting.
That's actually crazy. He's 27. Wow.
Isn't he? I think he is.
I thought he was younger, but again, these years, man, they fly by. Life happens quick, big man.
He is 27, dude. Eze is
That's
27.
Crazy.
So 27 to give him until, 31, 32, where Trossard is now at Arsenal. And you said he's a shooter. Trossard is a shooter. Yeah. You said it just reminds me so much of Trossard. And I need a Martinelli replacement. I need a fast winger who can create and score from outside the box. That's what I need. Okay.
I would like to say, even for the striker debate, how we're talking about Sesko, Gyökeres, like those are the two big ones. They've even thrown in the third person, the Frankfurt guy, was it Ekatike or something like that. They've thrown his name in, like we're pretty interested. I like what we're doing. I like that it's not just one name. This is who we want. What's the price? And then we get kind of... We're getting outside of our price range based on we're going for one guy. We're going for a bundle of them. Here's 6 names on left wing, right? 6 names. What can you do? We're going to buy one of you. Who really wants to sell? Who needs the money? Who needs the funds? I like pitting other clubs against each other versus us pitting ourselves against one club, which never made sense. I kind of like the strategy. So big shout out, Berta.
Yeah, dude. Berta is cooking, man. I think these recent links with Eze and Madueke especially. Madueke one, to me, felt like can my primary target bring its price down? That's the type of link it felt like, dude.
Yeah, I think that's what it's all about. Whether you're super interested or not, what if the Madueke price is just, they come back with something so low, you're like, we'd be silly not to do that. It'd be silly not to accept this. And then next summer, we can even make a bigger splash on somebody else. I just think it's good strategy, right? None of those people that you named are bad players. I think they could come in and do something for us. So obviously the priority is striker. That's where the biggest splash will probably be. But you never know. If the price is right on somebody else, maybe a Rodrigo, it could happen. Who knows?
Yeah, Rodrigo, I mean, it's going to have to be... That one's not going to happen at all until, like, August, if it does. I would be surprised if that's the July announcement, because I think for July, you want to get the striker and bring the striker in and have him be a part of preseason, if at all possible. It does take them a while, it seems, to learn the system. So I think maybe a winger would be easier to get in. I did have a name on the list, Semenyo, but it seems like he extended his contract at Bournemouth. So I don't think that one's happening.
I was pretty high on him as well. I think he was more of a sleeper, but that's kind of disappointing. He was a player I was watching. Still a firm believer we need at least one from each position, 2 attackers, 1 striker, 1 winger. There's a lot of noise about a center back, Mosquera, coming in, which makes from Valencia, which makes a lot more sense now that we got the Tomiyasu announcement. Makes a lot more sense why we're having to buy another defender. Seems like that would be a good fit for us, but yeah, we need both a striker and a winger. I'm with you though. Striker, get him in first to learn the system. Get their feet wet. That seems like a lot more of the priority.
Yeah, hopefully, dude. Hopefully. Because I heard that the first kind of set of players report for preseason next week on July 7th. So It is picking back up, and they put on the schedule when the preseason games are. So I think the Arsenal will start out playing against Milan on July 23rd. They're playing Newcastle on July 27th, and then they end the month with Spurs on Thursday, July 31st. So that's only 3 weeks away.
Where are those games at?
They're in Asia. I don't know the exact countries. Every time you ask me, I just say they're in Asia.
They're on the continent of Asia.
Well, it says National Stadium. The Milan game is in Singapore. And the Newcastle game is also in Singapore. The Spurs game is in Kowloon City. I don't know where that is. Kowloon City at the Kai Tak Sports Park. So I think Kai Havertz will score in that game since he's playing at his stadium, but the rest of them I'm not too worried about. I am planning on watching those games, so we'll try to record some pods. Hopefully they're easy to access. I don't want to have to pay the club like $5 to watch a game. I don't know. I support the club, but I don't want to support that behavior.
Yeah, preseason games. I assume this is gonna be terrible for us as far as time goes. But hey, we got the preseason matches last year, so those Asian fans, they get them this year. That's the way it goes sometimes. Hong Kong. That Tottenham game's in Hong Kong.
Oh, cool. They have a big following over there.
Yeah, it's probably a bad time for us, but whatever. It happens.
So I guess as we start to look ahead to the rest of July, we talked about all the incomings, but what about outgoings? Still waiting to see some sales, and there's been some talk recently that we could potentially see a big sale on the left wing. There was some rumors, did you see this, out of Saudi, that Gabriel Martinelli might be going for upwards of 85 million.
Oh boy, I can't backtrack now. I think I'm on the record. If the price is right, see you later. If that's the price, you know what? It's time to go.
That seems like a good price, dude. 80, anything above 80, I'm game for it. Anything above 65, I'm game for it.
I'm not going to put myself on the record with a number, but yeah, I'm all for that. There's other options there. We're just having this discussion about left wings. Talk about the potential to make a splash. Yeah. You know what? I don't see him accepting that, though. I don't think Martinelli's the type of player that would accept going there. That's just my gut.
You think the player would reject it because of the status of the league?
I do. That's just what my gut says.
Could be. He does also really like Arsenal. So.
It seems like that's a place you go, could not a guarantee, but could potentially be a death sentence to your international career, right? He's currently in the Brazilian squad. He's fighting for a starting place. If you make a move like that, that could potentially hamper your international career going forward.
With the World Cup next year, yeah, I can see that being a big issue for him. You're right. You are absolutely right.
But then again, we just saw a Saudi team beat Manchester City in the Club World Cup, so maybe the league's better than we knew.
Yeah, dude. Have you been watching any of these games?
I have not. I haven't actually caught a lick of. That's incorrect. I think I watched a couple minutes of it was Monterey and somebody else. I can't remember who they were playing. I just turned it on because there was nothing else to watch. But no, I haven't caught a lick of these games. How about you?
No, not really. I saw the fan that was going viral after the City game, the little celebration of like the neck break and his glasses like move. I saw
Funny.
that gif going around, dude. But the rest of them, no, no. Maybe the final I'll watch. It seems like Chelsea are favorites to win it now because they can't stop buying attackers.
Yeah, I feel like they've had kind of their run has been pretty easy. There hasn't been a lot of great matchups. I guess in our opinion, it's not great matchups. Maybe these Brazilian teams, those South American teams are just better than we know they are. Seems like they've actually had really good performances against the European teams. But also, I think they're more primed, right? Like their seasons are going, so they're primed and ready to go versus the European teams their seasons have finished and this is like a preseason type situation. So, yeah, I'll probably watch the final. I will.
No, that's the right perspective, dude. So I'm looking at our squad right now on the Arsenal website, and it looks like Kepa's wearing number 13. So that's cool. I was wondering about that number. It seems like we give it to a lot of goalkeepers. I don't know what kind of message the club is trying to send with giving our goalies the number 13, but they're the ones who get it. The backup goalkeeper's always 13, dude.
Didn't know that. Lucky. I guess it's a lucky number for some folks, so maybe that's why.
Yeah, I mean, it's Raya, Kepa, and Karl Hein. Karl Hein's wearing 31. So that's the goalkeeper squad. I'm looking at the defenders, and, Zinchenko and Kiwior are just the two numbers top of head, right? That come to mind for sales.
Yeah. I have not seen anybody's name linked with other teams. Martinelli was the only one, and that's very recent. I have not seen a lot of links this summer for Arsenal outgoings.
That's true. And there are players that I want to see move on. Fabio Vieira is one of them. Lokonga is one of them, dude. I want to see that midfield get a little thinner before it gets a little thicker.
You just mentioned Zinchenko. I think Zinchenko's a great option for another team. He's a good player. If he's not going to be playing with us, I'd rather see him playing somewhere. He's a good player. He plays aesthetic football. It's nice to watch him play. So he should go somewhere else and flourish.
Dude, Reece Nelson is on the squad. What do you
Bring him back.
What do you think is going to happen with Reece?
I think they're going to bring him back. Based on what happened this last year, we could have used a player like Reece, even though we got hurt. We just had the discussion of having to nurse a player back. We're going to have to nurse Reece Nelson back to health again. These hamstrings, right? But hopefully we can... We're experts in it now. We're experts in the hamstring recovery process.
Yeah, well, we'll be keeping an eye out. Hopefully in July, at least two players move on, and they're sales, not terminations. Because I got Gabby Jesus covering that, I think. I don't really have anything else kind of transfer related or Arsenal related to bring up. Do you?
I don't. We just talked about the Club World Cup going on. Let's give a shout out to the ladies. The Women's Euro started. I think it might be today. It either started yesterday or today. The Women's Euro is starting. I think tomorrow France and England play tomorrow, which is probably the first good game. I just looked at some of the group games. Not a ton of good games in the groups, but there are a few to hit on that'll probably be nice to watch.
Yeah, that's a good shout out. All right, man. Well, that's about a half an hour on this beat. I think to finish up today's episode, I wanted to bring in a new game for us to play.
I'm down for a little game time on this Friday morning. What do we got?
So I went through the last season of our podcast and pulled the title of some of the most listened to episodes. And I thought I would kind of give you the title and see if you can guess the game or the context of where the team was. And kind of a fun way to reflect on the season that was.
Okay. I'm good with that. I know we like to have a little fun with some of the titles. I feel like between us, they're always kind of like jokes, but see if people catch on with them. Okay, I'm down.
Yeah, dude, we try to take a little bit of a fun approach to them, but let me see. So to start out, in September, let's start out with September. Our most downloaded episode in September was Big Gabby. That's it.
Oh, you know, I want to say this one's an automatic because when KP talks about Big Gabby, he likes to mention one thing, and that's clutch goals. And who does Big Gabby score his clutch goals against, where he gets man of the match? Tottenham. I'm going to guess that September game was against Tottenham Hotspur.
That's a good guess, dude. That's spot on, man. Yeah. He was so clutch, dude. We had just come back from international break, I think, and Martin Odegaard basically broke his ankle. So we needed goals, man. And what a guy. What a guy.
I just looked it up. That game finished 1-0. So yeah, that's that clutch goal. I may not know the Arsenal like that, but I do know my co-host.
Let me see. In October, our most listened to episode was titled "It Was All Good Just a Week Ago."
Ooh. I pulled up our October fixtures here. Looked like this was a tough little run for us. Beat Southampton 3-1. Lost to Bournemouth 2-0. I think that's a game where we got that red card, right?
Yeah.
And then 2-2 versus Liverpool. I think Liverpool came back on us. It was all good just a week ago. I'm going to go Liverpool 2-2.
The Liverpool game was titled "Another 2 Points Dropped."
Oh no! Okay,
it was the Bournemouth game.
Okay.
It was the Bournemouth game because we had just We had just drawn Man City. Felt like things were good, right? And then Southampton. It was one of those moments where you felt like, hey, we might actually be able to beat these Man City guys.
We were on a very good run up until that point. That's the Saliba red card, I think, right?
Yeah, that was the one that they called
Dogso, yeah.
Doxo, dude. Ugh. Yeah. Gross, dude. Let me see. In November, our most downloaded episode was titled "Arsenal Football is Back." All caps, dude. We were riding a high in November.
Ooh. Looks like we have two pretty dominant victories in November. We have a 3-0 versus Forest and a 5-2 versus West Ham United. It's got to be the West Ham game. 5 goals on West Ham. It's got to be.
Yep, it's West Ham.
Let's go.
It's West Ham, dude. All right, I'm moving on to December. In December, oh, it's a good one, dude. The most listened to episode was titled "Cry More" in all caps. Bit toxic, I'm not gonna lie to you.
I want to say this one's pretty easy just based on the teams available in December. I'm seeing a stinky Manchester United there. Big crybaby, so it's gotta be.
Bullseye, dude. Okay, now it starts to get a little sad. I'm not gonna lie to you. As we enter January, dude. In January, our most listened to episode was titled "Running Low on Silver Linings."
Damn.
Tough, dude. That's tough.
Oh. That's got to be against one of our boogeymen, Aston Villa. Looks like it was a 2-2 game. Classic dropping points against Villa. That's my guess.
Yeah. Yep. That's spot on, dude. I think it was also during the period where we were in the Carabao Cup, right? Maybe with Newcastle. Yeah. I think it was just not a great period. And people were getting hurt. People were seriously getting hurt. Havertz might have just gotten hurt.
So December, Saka's out. Then January, I think Havertz goes down. I want to say Jesus. We always forget about him. He was playing and starting to play well for us. I think that's all in the same time frame. That January fixture list. We had a big win against Tottenham 2-1, but I guess that's not a surprise. But some of those other results, man, we're barely scoring any goals.
Yeah, exactly. So then the most listened to episode in February was titled Can't Score in It. We just couldn't, dude. And this was late in February.
It's got to be the Forest game then. 0-0. Because at the beginning of February, we have a 5-1 win versus City. That was big ups. Big ups.
Yeah,
and
so
end the month. 0-0.
you know where you might trip up here is that the Forest game, that episode was actually published in March. So I think that didn't make the February cut. Do you want to have another guess?
Then it's got to be the West Ham game. We gave a big shout out to the 5-2, and then we lost to them 1-0 at home. Yep.
1-0 to West Ham, dude. Yeah. Not great. Let me see. In March. In March, our most downloaded episode was titled Classic End of Season Implosion. This is Arsenal.
Damn. I mean, we do hit the notes. I mean, to be fair,
I think March is when we threw the towel in, dude. That's when we just said, all right, I think we're done out here.
This is Marino playing up top.
Yeah.
There's no way. There's just no way. It's got to be Manchester United making us cry a little bit.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And then we end it all. We end it all, man. We end it all with Reality Check. Reality Check was up there to finish the season. I think that was right after we got knocked out of the Champions League by just a little bit of quality.
Man, that was a roller. I'm looking through this fixture list, man. What a roller coaster of a season. It is crazy to go back to the beginning. The red card versus Brighton. The red card versus City. The red card versus Bournemouth. I mean, that's the first 8 games. 3 red cards, man. That is crazy, crazy stuff. 3 red cards in 8 games. Woof.
Yeah, they don't write about that when they're giving out the trophy. So it was tough, man. That was a fun way of reflecting on the season, though.
No, we'll obviously keep the title banter going. Hopefully it's more ups and less throwing in the towel.
Yeah, hopefully. All right, man. This was fun. Thanks for playing along. Hopefully some of the listeners also got the games correctly. So we will record again when we see some splashing announcements this month, hopefully.
Okay, well, hopefully it's soon, right? Hopefully it's very, very, very soon. That would be very nice.
That's all we can ask for. Until then, everybody enjoy the holiday. Be safe if you're barbecuing. Watch your fingers if you're lighting some fireworks. And we will see you on the other side.
Be easy.